Kim Taehyung and Suzy shock the internet. Their latest photo instantly trends across social media. Hello everyone. And welcome back to BTS Fans. The place where stories are not rushed. Where moments are not reduced to headlines. And where every appearance is treated with the depth and respect it deserves. Here, we don't simply report what happened. We explore why it mattered. And today, what mattered was not a performance, not a press conference, not a carefully scripted announcement. It was a single photo. Quiet, unassuming, yet powerful enough to stop the endless scroll of the internet. Because in a digital world that rarely pauses, a world driven by speed, noise, and constant updates, something extraordinary happened. People stopped scrolling. Not out of shock. Not out of controversy. But out of recognition. Recognition of two figures whose presence alone has long carried weight. Kim Taehyung and Suzy. When the image first surfaced, there were no captions explaining its importance. No official statements guiding public interpretation. No narrative imposed from the outside. Yet within minutes, the reaction became impossible to ignore. Timelines shifted. Trending lists began to change. Screenshots traveled rapidly across platforms, countries, and languages. And what stood out most was not excitement, but awe. A collective pause, as if millions of people around the world felt the same quiet thought. At the same time, this feels different. And it was different, because the photo did not rely on spectacle. It did not demand attention. It did not attempt to dominate the conversation. Instead, it invited attention. Through presence, a calm visual, a mature energy, a sense of balance that felt increasingly rare. In modern celebrity culture, Kim Taehyung appeared exactly as the world has come to know him. Not loud, not excessive, but undeniably commanding. His aura was not built on performance in that moment, but on years of evolution. From idol to global performer, to artist, to cultural figure whose influence extends far beyond music. He is someone who no longer needs to chase relevance, because relevance seems to follow him naturally. In that frame, he did not pose. He simply was. And that, in itself, was enough. Beside him stood Suzy, a figure equally defined by time, growth, and consistency. Her presence carried a quiet confidence that comes only from longevity in the industry. She is not just remembered for her beginnings as an idol, nor defined solely by her success as an actress. She represents something deeper. A career built patiently, carefully, without losing authenticity. Her elegance was not performative. It was natural, understated, grounded. And when these two energies aligned, the result was not spectacle. It was harmony. This harmony is what resonated. Because in an age where attention is often demanded aggressively, this moment asked for nothing and received everything. Comments across platforms reflected the same sentiment. This feels cinematic. They look like world-class icons. There's something timeless about this image. Different languages, different cultures, same reaction. Not speculation. Not frenzy. Just admiration. ARMY noticed immediately. Suzy's longtime fans recognized it too. And even casual observers, those outside fandom spaces, felt compelled to stop and look. That is when a moment becomes cultural. When it transcends fandom. When it speaks beyond loyalty. When it reaches people who simply appreciate presence, artistry, and composure. Industry insiders began to take note as well. Because moments like this are reminders of a truth that often gets lost in numbers and algorithms. True influence is not always loud. It does not always come with announcements. And it cannot always be measured instantly. Sometimes, it reveals itself through silence, through stillness, through the way one image can shift the tone of an entire day online. For Kim Taehyung, this moment fits seamlessly into a much larger narrative. A narrative shaped by BTS, a group that did not rise by chasing trends, but by setting them, by choosing sincerity over spectacle, meaning over noise, longevity over immediacy. And as individual paths continue to unfold, Taehyung's presence remains unmistakable, grounded, thoughtful, and globally resonant. For BTS fans, this is why moments like this matter. Because they remind us that influence does not always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes, it arrives quietly and lingers far longer. The internet will move on. It always does. New topics will rise. New images will circulate. New conversations will take center stage. But some moments leave an imprint. They don't disappear. When the trend fades, they remain in memory, in discussion, and in the subtle understanding that something meaningful just passed through the timeline. And today, the photo of Kim Taehyung and Suzy was one of those moments. Thank you for spending this moment with us on BTS Fans, the place where stories are not merely watched, but truly understood, felt beyond the screen, and remembered long after the moment has passed. We will continue to be here, watching with care, listening with intention, observing every detail that others might overlook, and speaking thoughtfully, not louder, but deeper, because every meaningful moment deserves patience, context, and respect. Here, we honor those moments, not for how fast they spread, but for how deeply they resonate. And as each story quietly unfolds, we promise to be right here, ready to witness, ready to reflect, and ready to share it with you in the way it deserves to be told. We'll see you in the next story.